why can't we have nice things? Now, this is so interesting to me because before I recorded this episode, I said, I went on Locals and I said, hey guys, I'm going to record some visual art episodes. And I'm going to, talk about some of the stuff that we haven't really covered that, you've been asking for. What mailbag questions do you have about that kind of whole dimension of things, about visual art? And so many of those questions are about like, why does everything suck now? And this is kind of part of what I'm building up to here as I establish these themes, as I'm talking about, Vasari's vision of a divinely created universe, God as the original sculptor, the painter as the kind of, intuitor of the order of the universe. We're obviously in a place where we have sort of strayed from that. And I talked last week in response to another mailbag question about why it might be that as the kind of Renaissance, as the kind of explosion of life and artistic energy petered out from the Renaissance, and as we started needing to move into something new, we didn't make just a nice, happy transition into like movies that were now great or something. We sort of gradually moved away in visual art, at least, we lost the plot, is what I'm trying to say. We lost the plot a little bit. And even in movies, which, had their golden era, as we're going to get into, we have also now sort of lost the plot. And so I wanted to read to you an interesting little snippet from the New York Times back in 1990. And I found this when I was reading a book called The Dream and the Nightmare by Myron Magnet, which is about the ravages of the 60s and 70s and how hippie optimism destroyed social policy and created this permanent underclass. It's a great book, and he talks at one point about cultural matters, and he refers to this piece from 1990, and it's headlined, Is Quality an Idea Whose Time Has Gone? Which is an amazing thing to ask. The word quality at this point in 1990 is starting to become a dirty word in art circles. And listen to why. The author writes, rejection of the word is often accompanied by disillusionment with the idea of America as a melting pot, which all people and races steep together in a wonderful stew. Also reflects a loss of faith in the art world and in the process by which artists emerge, enter the arena of big-tier galleries, and achieve fortune and fame. And you can find this on the Wayback Machine. The Times has it's called, I think, the Times Machine, of older archives. And it goes on and on about, all these social concerns. That really quality is just a kind of, white construct. And you can see where this stuff comes from, right? And it was well and alive and well in the 60s and 70s in the academy. And already in the sophisticated art world of the 90s, it's like, well, with AIDS and all of these terrible things that are happening, can we really believe in the objectivity of a notion like quality anymore? And I really think that the reason we can't have nice things in art, as in life, is because we can no longer feel confident trust in the idea that there's such a thing as an objective standard that's not just conditioned in this Marxist way by our own material interests, but is actually absolute and utter, right? And that objective standard is going to produce new work and new kinds of thing in each new era, because as time passes, right, the various manifestations of reality are always changing. We live in time, things change and decay. We live in the world of tagenominon, as Plato would say. And yet the world of ta'on, the world of the eternal truths, either exists, right, and there is a standard which imperfectly we grant, and in a manner shot through with our own personal prejudices. Nevertheless, right, we are able to intuit the absolute standards of truth that God invested the world with. And once you lose that, once you start saying, well, what is quality really? This is why, Marxism as an idea is so pernicious. It's not because of the economic stuff, although the economic stuff is bad too. I've just been writing and reading a little bit about this philosopher Del Noce, who argues this very forcefully, that, you actually can't separate out from Marxism. The essential idea, which comes up in the kind of manuscripts that would become the German ideology and also in the theses on Feuerbach, that the truth of an idea is manifest in the events of history and not in the abstract. There's no such thing as abstract truth. There's only kind of the toss and churn of what political revolution is going on at the moment. And once you destroy that sense that there's actually a higher truth enduring above, you can't make art. You can't do anything. You can't really make any kind of progress, ironically, because you have no ultimate or final standard. And this to me is like, the core of it all. And believe me, I want to evangelize people into the Christian faith specifically. I want people to believe the Nicene Creed, but I actually think that we are like at a way, way more rudimentary point than that. Before we even get to that, the fundamental question at hand is there true and false? Absolutely. And does God endow us with the ability to know it or not? Once we get there, then we'll have a foothold. And I think we're kind of, we're so sick of all this kind of chaos on the online world. We can recover this idea, but it's going to take effort and it's going to take time.